Hello, hello, beautiful people. Happy February 26th. Bobby the Awesome here. Happy to be here. I am probably going to be short and sweet, I guess. Well, I guess that's usually my intention. But let's start off with the inspirational calendar quote for the day. I didn't come this far to only come this far. What that means to me, from a recovery perspective, is I didn't get through gambling and gambling addiction to just have a mediocre life or to settle, which is why I live my life every day to the best of my ability to the fullest I can. I don't do so perfectly at it when I have my pissy pants on, but in general, you know, I was at a meeting last night and somebody said to me, "Do you remember the first time I met you?" And I thought he meant in person, in group, when I sat down next to him and about gave him a heart attack when he realized I had just flown in from China as COVID was ramping up. And that was the example I gave him. And he said, no. He said, the first time I met you was on our thread, our private group. He goes, and you sent a picture of you hugging an elephant. And he said, how many people do you know have hugged an elephant? And he was trying to make me feel better because I was out of sorts last night, but he made a very good point. And part of why I share all my running around and the things I do and the goals I have with you guys is because I didn't come this far to only come this far. I want to fucking dream, and I want to make those dreams come true. And I want to not get derailed by my fears or the voices in my head that don't want me to succeed sometimes. I want to keep working and retraining them. And it's a daily process, but it's all good. Okay, that rant is over now. Let's see what our reading is about. Nancy Folsom says, joy happens as we cease fighting everyone and everything and surrender to the good, orderly direction of life. Living on the edge of depression and panic, we had little experience with joy. Our hearts were worn and battle-scarred, utterly unfamiliar with the peace that joy can bring. Days and sometimes years into our recovery, we one day find ourselves sitting side by side with joy. What a new feeling. It's solid. It's peaceful. It has nothing to do with where we're sitting or standing. It has nothing to do with what's going on outside us or with who said what to whom. It is a feeling too happy to be true, and the joy is the only word that pops into our heads to describe it. Joy is the gravy of recovery, and it is beyond measure. Now that we are living in a healthy and life-fulfilled way, there's always a chance that joy will find its way into our day. In this knowledge, we rejoice. Today, let me know that joy is the reward of persistently working my program and recovery. I think those went well together. I didn't know I was striving for joy, or I'm not sure I would have explained it that way, quite honestly. And that might be just as my friends are telling me, like my, what do you call it? They've been calling, my analytical side, right? I'm not an expert on just being like, oh, I feel joy today. I analyze my feelings and then reflect on them. And that's what I tend to share with you. And I don't recommend that for everyone. One of the things that I try to work on is being present. And I'm trying to learn how to be present, how to listen better, and how to acknowledge the feelings I'm feeling in the moment. And as I sit here talking and I try to recollect joy, the first thing, aside from hugging the elephant, because that was pretty freaking joyful, was my last trip. Well, I guess it wasn't my last trip. My Christmas trip to Aruba. And it was deliberate. It was deliberate to be present. But in that presence, I found out that there was joy and there was happiness. And it happened in the ATV four-wheeler thing as we're driving around, and I was trying to keep up. I'm not quite as fast as other people. I'm a little wimpy, full disclosure. Yeah, I'm probably a lot wimpy. But I'm trying to take in the ocean to my left and the rocks and the scenery on the right and keep up with the guys in front of me and be present and mindful about it. And I remember just thinking, like, this is freaking awesome. And I wish everybody can experience this. And I can also remember thinking, I would not be there if I was still gambling. And it's so hard to convey that to someone who's still struggling. It really is worth it, guys. And this joy, it's not in this book because it's not possible. It truly is a side effect of recovery. And it could be anything from the joy of riding in a four-wheeler to I heard my friend Sean express joy. It was about, I don't know, 2 or 3 years in. I can't even remember because time is wacky. But I think he's coming up on 5 years, maybe, without a bet. And one of the first Christmases, it must have been the first Christmas I knew him, so maybe it was year 2. He talked about the joy of being actually in the moment on Christmas morning and watching his children open their presents and play and being very mindful of actually being there. He wasn't thinking about being anywhere else. He wasn't thinking about the bet. He wasn't thinking about the lies he told his wife. He was thinking about Christmas, and he felt literal joy of Christmas. And I equate that because Christmas is the most joyous time of year, so they say, right? So it's those moments, and you're not going to be able to prepare for them. It's not going to be like, okay, I'm going to work my recovery every day so that I can find joy on day 727. It doesn't work that way. It does, however, show up when you're just doing the next right thing, and when you're working your recovery, and when you're taking care of yourself, and when you're doing the next right thing. I feel like I talked in the last day or two, and I don't know if it was on an IGTV or here, about, I totally lost my train of thought because I was trying to figure out where I said it or where the topic came up. Oh, sugar. Oh, it was definitely a calendar reading, but it had to do with, it's not going to be positive all the time. You know, we're not going to be in bliss and joy all the time. However, it could be a significant amount of the time if we're in recovery, and it could be noticed if our head isn't fogged up with all the shit that we used to keep in it. As we start cleaning house and we start emptying our negative bucket and we start hanging out with the right people that are good for our recovery and our well-being and that support us and love us, you're going to feel joy a lot more often than you ever thought possible. I promise you this. And again, as I'm kind of in a lecturing mode this week, for my newbies out there that are listening, it's possible. And you deserve it. You deserve to find the joy. You deserve to live your best life. And I'll tell you guys, this is not comfortable, the stuff that I'm doing. It's not comfortable. I mean, it's getting better where I can sit here and talk to you. It's still not perfectly comfortable to be on video. It's not comfortable to put myself out there in every situation. It's becoming normal because I practice it. And when I get stories or notes from you guys out there, that gives me the joy that the uncomfortableness is worth it. And that's kind of the whole journey of recovery. It's the same premise. We go through it, we do it, and then we're rewarded with this joy, not because we went looking for the reward of joy, but because joy shows up when we do the next right thing. Hope that made sense. Hope you guys have a fantastic, where are we? It's a Friday. So yeah, we're going into the weekend. If you have not checked out the interview with Brandy, and if you're listening to this first thing in the morning, it won't be out till probably a little later, I think, after 6 a.m. Anyway, It was a fascinating, amazing interview. She is a courage and confidence coach who just celebrated a couple years in sobriety. And it was a fascinating interview, and she has some experience with gambling addiction, and she shares her journey. So don't forget to check out Brandy. It was pretty amazing, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.